Hi humans, this is Random Guy and welcome to the Random Channel. Today we're going to be continuing Wizard's Choice, Chapter 5, and we're going through with the walkthrough, and we have already been like halfway through and we just got a little bit left. Well, I wouldn't say little bit, it's still quite a bit left, but I think we should be able to cover it all up in this episode if I don't have to read as much. If I have to read, which I probably have, so I think it's going to take at least 2 episodes. We'll see. Why is my chest hurting that fucking bad? Like it feels like a heart attack or something, or whatever. Let's ignore that. I think it's just that I'm standing in an enclosed space, so that I can record in peace because you know how it is. Every time I sit down to record, there's someone doing something outside the damn house, and there's just too much noise. So I'm standing in the most back room of my house. There's not much ventilation in here. I barely got the fan on. I'm sweating balls. But I'm recording because this is fun. I mean, YouTube is fun for me. I mean, I just started doing YouTube because I was kind of depressed, as funny as that may sound. But that's why I started YouTube. Now it's just to release a bit of stress. I just find it fun to play some games and have some people watch it. I mean, not that anyone is watching, but still anyone might be watching in the future, like a year or two from now. But whatever, let's continue. Let's stop with the soppy shit. Now we have to make it to the forest, and then we are going through. When we decide, what are we deciding? Let's go down. Halt, who goes there? What is this? Does this mean? No, what is this? I would just presume someone of your attributes will be pursued by many suitors. Right. This is where they were talking about how Sevlek prefers the taste of virgin. Grins the fang at you. Was I not a cleric of Lethe before I turned? The Lethe requires chastity. She lends her power only to souls devoted to her, married to her in spirit. What else did you expect? That I knew half of the men of the city? No, I did not expect you to know half the men of the city. I just presumed someone of your attributes would be pursued by many suitors. You mean tempted by many suitors? Yes, I had suitors, although few were at all tempting. The Duke's knights were the worst chivalry. Back is little more than a word for them. Armored thugs is a better description. Halt! Who goes there? Comes a voice. Out from a border strides an elf with one hand on the hilt of his sword. Surprised, you and Narissa gawk at him. Your fangs must be showing because his eyes widen. He raises a battle horn slung around his neck, lets out an ear-splitting blast. He then turns around and runs. Narissa snarls and begins to charge at him. You follow her. Yeah. This is where we fight this and that, and she throws holy water and whatnot. What the fuck is this? Is that Narissa? What the fuck happened to her? Look, I didn't get this photo last time. I did not get this photo last time. As you and Narissa close in on the fleeing elf, he flings an arm back and you are splashed with something painful. There's a hissing and bubbling on your neck where droplets hit you. Holy water, Thanatos screams. That little wave thinks I can be cowed by water, kill him. You pause in shock at the sudden pain. Narissa too stops and screams. Just as the two of you resume chasing the elf, a giant eagle appears from behind the great boulder. The elf leaps into the air, catches a stirrup. Narissa throws off her backpack, unfurls a wing, takes flight. The rider and vampire rise up into the air. Narissa tries to grab the rider, but the eagle swings his massive beak at her, tries to snatch at her with its talons. Talons are the nails, right? Narissa backs off and then holds her position, flapping in place as though considering her best angle of attack. The rider pulls out a bow from his back notches as an eagle prepares to fire as eagle swoops down upon Narissa. Okay. Suddenly Narissa veers back, the arrows punches through her bat wings and the talons of the eagle narrowly miss her. Damage to her wing must not be significant because Narissa stuck in the air, tries to counterattack, but the rider's momentum carries him out of reach. Swiftly the eagle rider soars up and then turns around. Like a jousting knight preparing for another pass. The elf notches another arrow. What do? Let's see. We are going to lightning bolt him. Yes, a lightning bolt will strike instantly. A perfect weapon against that arrow slinging coward, says Thanatos. Okay, so I last time I think did this as well. So now he fell down and now we have to feed on him. Let's feed on him. Life increases, morale is decreasing fast. I think something will happen with Slovak or something else in the story which will cause us to lose a lot of, you know, a lot of, what is that, health. That's why we are collecting health at the moment, spending everything, mana, morale, anything we can get our hands on, as long as we can, get that health on. But yeah, but there are certain events in this game that reduce your health by like minus 99. So it would be funny if there was an event where, yeah, if you did everything perfectly, you have 100 health, the health is reduced by 99, you're still alive with 1, and then you like do something. That would be actually really cool. Like, it's not cool from a story standpoint, but it's cool from, the fucking player standpoint. It was like minus 99, but you had 1 health. That's kind of fun. With a snarl, you snatch the elf by long, fair hair, bite into his neck. Narissa lets out that must be a squeal of delight. She bites into the other side. Yes, Thantos shouts in glee. The high and mighty elf is no more than a bag of blood. The two of you drain him and then drop the body to the rocky ground. Blah, blah, blah. Then we are... What is this? Carrying me? You would finish your sentence. Well, the surface would be keep to the road, would be conspicuous there, but rather conspicuous, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think last time I did this as well, but we have to go for the rougher terrain. So we got onto like various rocks and shit with the the mountain, right? The mountain. Then we got into the mountain and we found like rocky terrains. So we got there. Then we entered a forest, woods or whatever. Only elves, monster riding upon. The eagles cannot fly through the trees. Their eyesight is not so keen. Will that day when we are but lifeless corpses does not answer. Narissa, you have trekked the wilderness before. How shall we escape? Blah blah blah. This and that. Perhaps we should find a Narissa. We should trade one and if a small giant down there or something else. She says. But I need to find a decent place. Yeah. I think this is where night comes. There's night. And the elven riders are like sitting and like around a campfire. But last time I went towards them, right? But I realized halfway through that it's a trap. So I backtracked, so I didn't take as much damage. I took a little bit of damage. But this time around, I'm going to play it safe and see if we can, keep all our health. And we are going to... What are we going to do? Jump the wall. Right, so we are going to explore the cave. The shaft of the cave, yeah, I already read all this. There was like a giant and something else, quote unquote, that I don't think I found that something else last time around because I just went to the goblins. So I don't really know what the extra shit is. So we're going to keep going into the caverns and then we're going to find dire wolves and goblins. So we find goblins and we're going to charm it. We're going to charm the goblin. And increases 2, morale increases 2. The murmurs the magic word, blow kisses in the air. That's a clear fucking reference to one of those, anime where they're like the girl like kisses the air and the heart flies to the guy and the guy's like eyes become love hearts and then he like follows her around like a sex slave or something. It's one of those things, the magical girl thing they do. That's probably what it is. Can't be too sure, but whatever. The Buri prisoner does this from One Punch Man, I think. He looks like he's about to bolt, but then he suddenly he falls to the ground in a low bow. His face smashes to the ground, tenses as though to strike, but you put up a hand to stop her. The goblin thinks you're his master. Thantos says, "You know, goblin?" You ask. "Of course. I have memories of more lives than our specks." Yes, I know more life than specks of sand in all of the puny deserts of my world. I know you interrupt. Although I do not believe your boast, I will listen to you translate the little monster's words. So Santos commences the job of translator because you share a mind with the demon. This translation is very natural indeed. You hear the translated words as soon as Santos thinks them, and you find yourself able to speak back to the goblin, although not quite as fluidly as your common tongue. The goblin commences kissing your feet, proclaiming you his most terrible and magnificent master. With elves not far behind, you would rather he not make such a racket. So in whisper, you command him to shut up before you rip his lips off and add them to your prized bag of lips. He seems slightly confused by this, but shuts up quickly just the same. You command him to lead you out of there. Soon you are scrambling after the goblin. His name is Luswaja, which translates roughly to idiot, although Thanatos says that goblins have more than 100 words for idiot. You ask him where he is taking you. He says you are going to be his tribe. You are going to his tribe to declare yourself as the new master and cast aside the old feeble current false master. I do not think this is a wise course. You said goblin, you asked Narissa. No, but my demon does. She says, bah, of course. Obviously, all demons know this foul language. Not wise. Not listen to the stupid girl. We will soon be at the head of a goblin army. We would have all the pointy-eared heads on pikes by the end of the night, says Thanatos. The goblin may serve as protection as we slumber. How else will we survive the coming day with those rangers tracking us? Agreed. Even if this little scam shows us the way out of the caves, there are likely eagle riders watching over the area. We haven't time to be chased around the mountain with sunrise coming. Straight ahead of your tribe, eh? Straight ahead of your tribe, eh? You ask. Yes, the goblin says excitedly. You are new master. You killed old master. You remember me. Good, help me when you become master. Me, the one who whirl around. See, Narissa has ripped into the goblin's throat and gulping greedily. Narissa, you hiss, but you know it's too late. A few seconds later, he drops the little corpse to the ground. Why? Why must you do that? Why must you kill those I charm? You ask incredulously. There's a green dot from her mouth with her sleeve, and then he was babbling or given us away. I thought I could make one final use of him. He could have helped us introduce us to the tribe. Ha, he was a foot soldier. His word means nothing. What would his brethren do if he saunters and announces that he has found their new master? What will the current master do? Order a skill, that's what. Unless, of course, he planned to charm every goblin in the mountains, says Narissa. He could have told us more about the tribe. How much time do you think we have with the elves behind us? How much time before his charm spell was going to wear off? If that were not enough, how much time before day comes and we fall to the ground? If they're under the ground, like if they're underneath the ground, do they still fall asleep? Like, do they still become lifeless corpses, quote unquote, when the sunrise is above and they're underneath the ground, underground, or inside a building or something where sunlight doesn't hit them? How does this work? Like, this is very absurd vampire logic. Like, I've seen loads of vampires, but this is the first time I'm hearing of a vampire that becomes a corpse in the day. Like, I know they can sleep and they can be awake in the morning. They just have to stay out the sunlight. But this guy just becomes a corpse. Or whatever. Blah blah blah. Defense. Goblins are just yeah. All you need to know about goblins is that they only respect violence, as Narissa. You are angry, but she is right about not having much time. Certainly not time to argue about a dead goblin. Shake your head. Take the lead down the cave shaft. Soon the stench of the goblin is nearly overwhelming. Mission Narissa stay behind. Blah blah blah. But 50 minutes. 3 goblins too much. Yes, I already read all this. How did I do this last time? I think I just used invisibility, but this time I'm going to disguise as a goblin. Apparently. I will cast an illusion to disguise myself as a goblin we earlier saw. What about me? Says Narissa. You wait here until I strike them by surprise. Then you come to my aid, you say. No, you distract them, I will creep up. Says Narissa. Maybe. Just watch from around the corner, take what opportunity you can. If I say the name, you pause to think of a name. Deathbringer. Then charge. With the elves not too far behind, you don't want to take much time planning, especially since in your experience the best laid plans work for only the first minute or so. Beyond that, it's luck and improvisation. You cast your illusion and approach the sentries. Oh, it's Luswaja. Have you been drawing pictures of your sweet love, Malaja, again? Asked one. We have all had Malaja, who hasn't? Calls another. Yes, none of us thinks her worth a picture, but better to draw a picture of Tilad, the conjurer's buttocks. Jeers another goblin. What the fuck is this? This is followed by some high-pitched laughter. The wolves sniff the air, growl at you. There's no time for your stupidity. A dragon woman comes, you say. You're speaking strangely, Lassa. Your voice is strange, says one of the goblin. It is because I'm afraid, you say. As you step past the guard post into the cave shaft beyond, one of the wolves lunges, straining beyond the chain he's on. There appears to be a pin in the ground where the chain is secured, which you assume is a quick release mechanism. Now that you are on the other side of them, you do your best to draw their attention. She has giant bat wings like dragon and horrible teeth. She says that the goblin tribe have not been paying her respect, and she looks like this. You say as you pull out your dagger and start screeching an outline on the floor. Where do you get that dagger? As Goblin. Goblin do not seem to believe your story, but evidently they're hard up for entertainment, so all enraptured by your emerging drawing. She calls herself Deathbringer. You shout the signal word. A second later, you look up from your drawing and see Narissa slinking along the wall. The wolves continue to snarl at you. This is good. You are afraid the wolves would be harder to distract, but it appears that your vampiric scent is coming in handy for once. That looks like a goat, one of the goblins says in your drawing. You think everything looks like a goat, says another. It is because I'm hungry. We have the goblin's hand is cut off by loud tongue. Narissa just demolished the skull of one of the dire wolves with her mace. She has killed the other wolf by the time the goblin was able to scream and scream. They do, seeing Narissa's great wings unfold and teeth bared. Dragon woman, shouts one of the goblins. Back of his loincloth suddenly enlarges. Oh, he shat himself. Okay. The goblins run. Unfortunately for them, they have nowhere to run but into you. These goblins make a nice meal. By the time you are finished, your illusion has flickered out. With your thirst slacked, you continue down the shaft, the commotion and the stench of the goblins growing stronger. After a few hundred meters, the cavern widens into this is all bullshit. All the goblins drinking this and that. Cast a grand illusion to frighten them. This and that we can do. Last time I think I did this. Use an illusion and then we made an illusion of a dragon. And then we kill the leader or whatever. But this time we are going to... You're just going to straight up slay the leader. Life decreases 12 and morale increases 2. You usher Narissa away from the chamber so you can talk strategy. You strike quickly and kill the leader. We should be able to cow these little beasts, you say. Narissa nods. The ground is covered in goblins. However, I can fly to the ground and strike. Yes, I will kill the warlock. And I will kill the warlock. He is likely the second in command. He certainly ranges in any case, you say. The two of you return to the opening into the cavern, count to 3, then launch your attack. Narika streaks toward the dais, the crowned goblin. You leap onto the floor, scattering startled goblins and charge at the warlock. Tries to cast a spell. The surprise of your attack coupled with your speed enables you to bury your dagger into his head before he is able to utter more than a word. Unfortunately, the giant is standing behind the warlock and he swings his club. It takes you a moment too long to retrieve your dagger from the goblin's skull. Bam! You hurl into a mass of screaming goblins. Recover and leap on the giant, biting and stabbing and scratching. Soon you have ripped the giant's throat out, but not before he has given you some nasty punches. Although it has only been a few seconds since you started the attack, goblins are starting to organize a defense, grabbing spears, bows. Lay down your weapons and grovel before me. Narissa shouts in the goblin language from top of the altar. She is holding the dead body of the goblin chief above her head. Her wings are flexing above and forth. There's green blood dripping from her chin. Most goblins prostrate themselves and cry for mercy. A few run away screaming. One of them is defiant, preparing to fire his bow. You run over, snap his neck. You then kick and shove the goblins aside as you approach the dais to join Narissa. Okay. Life increases 5. There are shouts of all kinds of goblins. They're calling Narissa small. Yeah, this is where we started the 2 episodes ago, I guess. Narissa makes a disgusted face, blah blah. Life increases 1, mana increases 5, morale decreases 2. This and that. Now this is interesting because last time I fed on them, but it says do not feed on them. I think the reason why this is because this time we're going to be using the goblins as a decoy. So we want the brave and the strongest one that we killed last time to actually survive. Last time they voted the fucking strong ones, so we had to kill them. But we didn't use them as a decoy, so there was no problem. But this time we're going to leave them so they can fight back against the eagles and whatever. Do not feed on them, okay? Better not push our luck with this lot. You think to yourself. You consider your goblin horde and decide it's time to head out from there. We go up there. This last time I left the goblins behind. This time we are going to use goblins as decoy. Strategist. However beautiful the strategy, you should occasionally look at the result. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about, Winston Churchill. Thank you. That last time I did not choose the decoy option because I thought anyone with a little mind for strategy would straight up think that this is clearly a decoy. But apparently no one gives a shit and no one understands strategy around here. So just came after us straight up. And this time we're going to do this. Since we have gone through the trouble of commandeering this goblin horde seems a waste. To just leave them here. If the gods are good, there will be a few less goblins in the world after tonight, you say. Yes, use them as fodder. It is what goblin leaders do. It is right for you to fulfill the rival's expectation, lest they lose respect for you, says Thantos. Take some time to return to the lair and muster the goblins. You command them to march to the northwest where there is a elf encampment. While you and Narissa will circle swiftly around and attack from the other side. Goblins seem to be in high spirit at the setup. Most of them do not bring their bows, perhaps the only weapon that might have some effectiveness against the riders. You do not bother to correct them. Finally, you and Narissa set off yourself in the opposite direction as the goblin. With any luck, you will never see them again. The moon has not traveled far in the night before you hear the distant, mournful cry of battle horns. They have found the goblins, or us. She flaps up to a perch on a nearby tree, peers out into the night. Not us, thank the god. Elven riders are raining down fire, and you hear the reports of thunder and lightning. The goblins are certainly being cut to pieces. At least I have to soothe my conscience, and sending the villainous tribe out into the open with the riders around will do some good to this world. You think to yourself. Thantos says nothing. You merely feel his brooding presence. Okay. You and Narissa hike as quickly as you can, even risking some occasional short flights and low skimming, blah blah blah. Halfway through the night, you see the dragon forest. Narrator, after about an hour, Narissa spots the rider coming. If it's not, stops and yeah, why are they coming after us now? What the fuck? Okay, whatever, they're again coming after us somehow. I thought they would be busy with the fucking goblin horde, but apparently not. Man, I really need to leave this fucking room. There's little to no oxygen in here, and I'm starting to like have real fucking like I'm getting sleepy just standing here. But I have to go through with another 17 minutes of this bullshit. But we'll see. This time we're going to have Narissa drop you. Last time I pressed dodge and I thought like either dodge or Narissa drop you, but I chose dodge and I knew that was a bad option. But yeah, I'm gonna have Narissa drop us. Life decrease 8, mana decrease 1. Drop me. You shout as you pull Narissa's hands apart. No sooner as you realizing to the ground pummeling under you does the first lightning bolt shoot forth. The air near you lights up. The hair on your arm stand up. There's a deafening thunder. Looking up, you see Narissa desperately diving and wheeling as the next bolt is shot at her. This time clipping her wings, sending her down. Just as you're about to hit the ground yourself, you cast your feather fall, gently land, run towards the dragon's forest. So Narissa is running beside you, her wings folded, trailing a thin wisp of smoke. In less than a minute, the riders are flying above, raining arrows back on you. Take one in the back, although it is only a flesh wound. Finally, you make it into the dragon's forest. Finally. Yeah, this is Sivlak, and then we ask for whatnot. I'm not offering him Narissa, that's for fucking sure. Offer your service. I offer you my service, my life, you stammer, glares at you. The flicker of flames crosses through his dark eyes. You catch your gaze down to the ground. Serve me, how? By bringing elves to the edge of my forest, you're not off to a good start, he says. When you look up, he's smiling at Narissa with perfectly white teeth. I'm not certain he will be of any help to me, however I expect you will be of service. You are not sure if he's referring to her service as food or something else, but you intensely dislike the way he's looking at her. Narissa returns his gaze entranced. You hope she shakes off whatever effect this is soon. Well then, will you be of service, lovely Narissa? Says Sevlak. Narissa gives the slightest of nods. Sevlak takes a step closer to her, watches her intensely. Finally, he chuckles. It is time then. You are mine. He pauses. Then he motions at you without looking back from Narissa, and you are mine as well. Sevlak then spins on his heel back and begins striding into the forest. I will meet you at the gate of my castle, give you entrance. He then shimmers and disappears. Teleport spell, you wonder. Narissa reaches down with a trembling hand, retrieves her backpack from the ground. The castle is more than a mile from here, I estimate. I presume you have permission to fly there, she says. So you allow Narissa to carry you to castle gate. From up there, the dragon's forest stretches out as far as you can see in most directions. River cuts through the middle. There is a large brick bridge that spans the river with a wide cobblestone road that runs steeply up to the castle. Even from there, you can see that the road is overgrown with weeds and obviously it does not get a lot of traffic. Savlak is waiting for you inside the open gate as you land outside. The outer wall, he bids Narissa to step through the gate and she does. As you walk forward, he puts up a hand to halt. As you wait, he waves his hand and speaks a few arcane words. There is shimmering in the air and through the wall gate. Come then, he says. After you step to the gate, he waves his hand again and you hear a brief hum. A magical wall to protect his castle, but Narissa walked through before he lifted it, you think. Yes, well, he can't be constantly lowering and raising his ward for himself and his food. He's a busy dragon, I'm sure, says Thantos. So a female virgin can pass through, but no one else. Interesting, you think. It is a shame that male virgins cannot pass, says Thanatos. Finally, your ineptitude would be a tactical advantage. I am no virgin, you reply. Thanatos laughs. I have seen that one memory of yours, says Thanatos. The gods would not count such a ludicrous display brief and clumsy. He laughs again. Okay, so we are not a virgin, but our first time wasn't exactly great. Okay. God damn it, this is so fucking stupid, but it's fucking hilarious at the same time. But at least he had something, if he dies here. In the sigh, you wonder if it's possible to hide anything from this fiendish invader. Okay. To trail behind Narissa, Sivlak enter the inner keep. The entrance hall is huge, as if it were designed specially by a dragon. The ceiling are domed and staggerish tall with statues and inlays in the walls. Some of the statues are very big, including what you suppose is a full-size griffin as large as 10 men. And this world's griffin are large. I mean, I've seen other fantasy worlds, but griffins are not that large. They're generally I would say 7 or 8 feet high, not 10 men high. That's huge. That's fucking huge, dude. Damn. Okay. Savak looks back at Narissa, who's gawking at the 20-meter high statue of a knight guarding the arched doorway of a hall. The previous owner likeness. I assure you, he was not so imposing in the flesh. Savak grins. Raven gives you a brief tour of the main chambers, including the throne room. Like the entrance chambers, these rooms are large, perhaps even on the order of the Duke's castle. Back in the Ring City, the furnishings are rich but standard Gothic style, with the exceptions of a number of statues of young women. Most of them appear to be surprised or frightened. Wait, the furnishings are rich, but the exceptions of a number of statues of young women. The statues looks frightened and surprised. Maybe he froze women with the spell or something. He really appreciates his food. When I was mortal, I would never have occurred to me to have statues of lamb chops, fruit, or roasted peasants, you think. Speaking of which, you wonder where his virgins are. What about servants? Why don't you ask him, says Thanatos. As best as you can, Sevlak does not like you, or at least not relative to Narissa. So you have preferred to say little to this powerful creature, and Narissa do the talking. However, there is something disturbing about this silent fortress. You wonder if it would not be better to risk his displeasure than risk ignoration. You clear your throat, mighty Sevlak. With a castle so grand and well kept, might I ask where all your servants are? My servants, I must confess I tend to eat them eventually, so I am actually in the market, as it were. As for my virgins, yes, vampire, I suspect that is really what you are wondering. I turned most of them to stone. I cannot have them crying to go home and whining for food or otherwise, making a fuss around the castle. A home should be a place for peace. A few others I transform into cats to keep down the vermin, and many others. And this dragon got some superpowers, I know dragons are powerful, but I don't think I've ever read a fantasy world, even a fantasy world where dragons transform into people, that I've ever heard of a dragon with this much variety in his spell. Most of their spells are destructive spells, and just this one transformation spell they use to transform into a human-like shape. But that's about it. This is the first time I've seen a dragon with that many capabilities. Maybe turning to stone would be a capability that I might have seen somewhere, but other than that, turning to cats and shit, and that much magical prowess, that's new to me. I cannot, blah, blah, blah. I mean, many others I keep as rabbit to keep the grass trim in the courtyard. He pauses and gives a slight bow to Narissa. Not that you need to fear such treatment, my dear. You're far too talented to be stored away like that. Narissa does a deep courtesy as though thankful for the exception. Okay. Now, sun is not far off, so I imagine you will be requiring rest soon. There are bedchambers down the hall. He points down the hall. I shall retire now. Feel free to roam this floor as you please, but do be a good guest and not stray. He gives a wide, dazzling smile that is decidedly predatory. I bid you good day. I may see you tomorrow night if I have need of your services. Otherwise, I feel free to hunt in the nearby forest. There are still be a few animals left. With that, Sevlak stride purposely out of the room. Listen to his footfall. Make note that they seem to have receded down what might well be a stairway. You wonder if he is heading for his treasure hoard. It is said the dragons like to sleep on their mounds of gold, and in that chamber is the book of names and your freedom, or so you hope. Narissa and you check out the bed chambers that Sevlak invited you to stay in. The beds are made and the chambers are neat. However, there's a film of dust over everything. The windows in the throne room. I think we should do best to both sleep in the furthest bedroom. You say, pointing to the last bed where you get to the last chamber. The other rooms have no windows either. They should be dark enough, says Narissa. Still, why take a chance? Is it not better to be deeper in the castle, you ask? You're not sure, but you might catch the flicker of a smile from Narissa. But she shrugs and nods to a bed. I suppose you're right. Yes, be sure to sleep next to her so that I might take over your body and strangle her as she and goes on, but you do your best to tune him out. With your sleeping arrangement made, you decide to take the half an hour or so to remaining night to explore the main halls. You find yourself inspecting the stone virgins, wondering how long they have been imprisoned and how they have been captured. You wander into the courtyard. There are dozens of rabbits hopping about, nibbling on grass. More virgins, you think. Feed on one, urges Thantos. It is their soul you feed on, not truly their blood. The soul of one of these virgins would give our body much strength. I thought you valued its body. Would you have it torched by the dragon? You ask incredibly. The rabbits are everywhere. It's not as though Savlak has time to count them every day. You will not notice one missing, at least not for a while. If you seriously wish to challenge the dragon, you will need strength. They are innocent is not right. Thantos laughs. I think we are past crying over your trivial moral transgressions. Seize what power you can or die a fool. So we're going to leave them apparently. I would have completely drank from the rabbit, so I'm gonna leave them apparently. Better to go hungry than feed on the soul of an innocent. Man, it's getting difficult to breathe in here. It's like a fucking challenge, try not to die challenge while playing a video game. Better to go hungry than feed on the soul of an innocent, you say to Thantos. Thantos commences berating you for your weak-minded sentimentality. But you are able to mostly tune it out. You have heard all this many times before. After a bit more exploration, return to the sleeping chamber. You and Narissa had agreed upon earlier. She is already lying on her back in the bed, her eyes fixed on the ceiling. You lie down next to her, scoot as close as you can before the demon in you begins to growl and squirm. Soon, demon, I will be free of you, and then I will know love. You say in your mind. You stare at the ceiling with Narissa. Say nothing. You know you will be in the pit shortly. You wish to just spend the moment with her before the sun rises. Morale decreases 2, life increases 2, mana increases 4. When you awaken the next night, your body is refreshed even as you feel morally drained from the pit. Narissa smiles sadly at you. She is being taxed more and more by a demon as well. Dragon's waiting for you in the throne room. He sits idly atop the throne room with your keen eyes. You spot the symbol for a vampire on the cover of the book. I trust you slept well, he asks as he slams the book shut. Yes, my lord. Narissa says with courtesy. You bow. You shall leave, he says, glancing at you, then focuses on Narissa. I shall talk to her alone. You bow and retreat out the room. The heavy doors shut on their own accord behind you. Lingering near the door, you hear a few low words and then footsteps and the shutting of another door. You suppose they have left the throne room. You are tempted to follow, however, that would be rude and if caught, probably very dangerous. You decide that you can talk to Narissa later to find out what was discussed. To occupy yourself, you inspect virgin studies again. You poke them, whisper words like freedom and release in different languages, hoping to somehow thaw them. Of course, you are not sure what you would do if you actually managed to free one. The dragon would likely be displeased, but you try anyway. Giving up on it, you occupy your time looking for secret doors in the vain hope that you might stumble upon the entrance to the dragon's fabled treasure room. After some time of fruitless search, you grow anxious about Narissa. Thantos is constantly hissing his own theories on what has happened to her, most of which include her being ravished and enjoying it. Desperately, you search the main floor on the castle. You search the main floor of the castle, the area the dragon earlier said you could explore. Nothing. All is quiet except for an occasional distance cry. It is of a woman. You think, but you're pretty certain it isn't Narissa's voice. You worry and Thantos' constant needling is wearing on you, and you're not sure how much longer you can stand this feeling of helplessness. Several told you not to explore beyond the main floor of the keep, but you debate yourself to disregard this. As a vampire, I'm stealthy. I would be like a shadow, you think. Thantos discourages this, but you know not to trust him. Although he has never been an honest advisor, he has been increasingly hostile since you entered the dragon's dominion. You suspect that he is afraid of you drawing closer to the Book of Names, ultimately his banishment to the abyss. So we are going to explore the rest of the castle. Whatever the risk of disobeying the dragon, you cannot wait here to be eaten from within by Thantos, feeding your anxiety. Swiftly but as quietly as you can, you slip down the stairway. The dragon used the first night he left you. First night he left you, the door at the bottom locked. Worse, after brief instant, you realize that it is sealed with a powerful enchantment that you cannot, do not think you can, not think your own spells can undo. You retreat back, try the stairs going up. The door is not locked, so you quietly explore the upper floors. There is no sign of Sevlek or Narissa, only rooms with dusty furniture and a few more stone virgins. Looking through the, I mean, they are not virgins if he fucked them, right? Like he's saying stone virgins, but I think if he fucked them, then they're not no longer virgins. So it's like the stone women, I guess. But okay. Just then you see the movement in one of the towers. Towers and windows. Whatever it is, gone now. Without a moment to lose, you desperately search for the entrance to the tower, but where the stairway is, there is nothing. You run your hand across the wall, searching for a secret passage. But even your keen vampire sees no sign of door. Just then you hear a far-off cry. Narissa, you wonder, you cannot be sure. You run your hands along the wall desperately. The stairway is probably sealed off. A dragon that can fly and does not need stairs, hisses Thanatos. They probably flew up there together hand in hand as lovers do. I should shout out for the dragon, you think. I will try to be as polite as I can, but I must know he will come out. The worm will slither out of hiding and I will learn what I must. You are a guest and a not very welcome one from what I gather. You cannot just shout out demands to the most powerful creature in the region as though he was your servant. I only have a few hours of night. I cannot waste my time skulking about this place. I must know what you think. What do you do? Definitely not shout for the dragon. Even I wouldn't do that. Try to find another way. You force yourself to calm down. You think, you jog back to the window, stare at the tower. It only takes you an instant to the obvious to come to you. The windows. I cannot fly, but I am a strong climber. I even have a spell that allows me to climb like a spider, you think. Estimate the journey. It is very high tower. The castle is old and the stonework is pocked, allowing for some foot and toe holds. Without another movement, you climb through the window, begin transversing towards the castle, face towards the tower. When you reach the base of the tower, you see that your vampiric strength alone may not be enough. The shaft of the tower is completely vertical and the stonework is tighter. You cast your spider climb spell, make the ascent as quickly as you can. At last, you reach the windows at the top of the tower. As you peek over the bottom of the window, you come face to face with a young woman. Her eyes widen, she lets out a yelp. She's pretty with big doe eyes and long, immaculate groomed brown hair. She jumps up from her chair facing the window, backs up. The reaction seemed to be genuine fear, so you presume her to be not a threat. To not be a threat. You swing into the room, you put your hand up assuringly. I'm not here to hurt you. Guards, who? Guards, how? Who? You stammer. The two other young women run into the chamber, their mouths drop when they see you. Again, you assure them that you mean no harm. One of the women leans up and snatches a fire poker from the door. He is not a dragon, one of his servants, says the first woman. His servant? No, not exactly. Who are you? We are captives of Sevlek, and you better tell us who you are, or there will be trouble. The one stammers as she feebly banishes the fire poker. Ah, virgins, you ask. The eye-dotted one nods slightly while the two what? What the fuck am I saying? The doe-eyed one nods slightly, while the other two give each other a look and then return their attention to you. Oh well, I am here to rescue you, you say. Not sure if this was such a good thing to say, since for all you know, Sevlek is in the other room listening. A redhead burst into the room. Rescue us, oh thank. She looks at you, then looks around the room. You do not look like a knight, she says. I have no armor, but I would not think that's necessary, you say. These simple farm girls expected a knight in shining armor. They got you, a skinny fool. Loves so much as a sword, says Thanatos. Gods be praised. So you slew the dragon? Ask one. Not yet, you say. Then you have come to whisk us away from this place. Perhaps your winged steed is alighted from the roof. A Pegasus, another one. What the fuck are they talking about? Why did I even say that I want to save them? Another woman exclaims. The fifth woman rushes into the room, starts shouting about your Pegasus and that she is an excellent rider who was away first. Take some time for you to explain that you do not actually have a Pegasus or any other convenient means of rescuing from the tower. This is met with confusion from some, frustrated by the anger. You attempt to comfort them with familiar formality by introducing yourself and asking for each of their names. Well met, you say, after the introductions. You want to begin? I am looking for a friend, a young woman. She's rather distinctive, for she has large wings, you say. This is with more perplexed looks. What is this madness? Asked Jillian, a dark-haired beauty. Finally, Pelina, the doe-eyed virgin you saw when you first looked in the tower, speaks over the others. If you have not slain the dragon, you do not have the means to get us out of the tower. In what way are you here to rescue? A fair question, asked Thanatos in your mind. First, I must find my friend. She is powerful, and she can fly. Together we can slay the dragon. She is a virgin like you. The one with the firepoker drops her weapon and crosses her arm. If you're asking whether this woman is up here, the answer is no. Do you think we would be waiting for our deaths if one of our numbers had wings? Do you know where Sevlak may have taken her? She was with him early tonight, you say. But what about us? We do not want to die, Gillian says plaintively. Tell her that only a virgin need fear the dragon, that you, out of the goodness of your heart, will adjust the status to Santos with a laugh. Oh, and do not forget to bounce your eyebrows. The fuck? That's fucking hilarious. I need to read that again. Tell her that only a virgin need fear the dragon and that you, out of the goodness of your heart, will adjust their status. So Santos with a laugh. And you do not, and do not forget to bounce your eyebrows as you say it. Does Savlak eat women who are not, do you have the correct history, you ask? Polena arrows eye. It is said that such a woman will still die than the dragon. Only slower. You clear your throat. Yes, well, I will help you, but first you must help me. Where could have he taken my friend? He said that Savlak occasionally finds a woman to his liking and keeps as his companion and a servant, at least until he gets bored with her or she vexes him. Espelena, you do not like the sound of that. You notice how Savlak looked at Narissa. That was correct. There was perhaps more than hunger in those eyes. Fascination, perhaps. That is not what happened. It is very rare that he takes on a companion, or so I have heard. Do not listen to Fail. She is in love with the beast and hopes to be chosen herself, says Jillian. I do not love him. It is only that he is very charming. Yes, charming until he transforms into a giant lizard and swallows you, says Pelena exasperately. Very well. If you do not know where my friend is, perhaps you ladies could tell me something of Savlak's weakness, you ask. You're asking us. You are the dragon slayer, says Fail, panic in her eyes. So the expression of each of the women in turn asks them. There is a flicker, something in Palena's eye. My lady, if you know something, tell me as you value your life. She shakes her head and looks down at the floor, then returns your gaze. You're keen here, you hear someone whisper, say nothing, he may be the dragon. If you are not going to rescue us, then you should leave. Fail says, glancing between you and the window. Every third night, Selvig brings one lady to the tower, leaves with another. The one that leaves never returns, says Jillian. It is the third night since his last visit. He could be here any minute, and he will not enjoy finding you here. He may kill us all, whisper. At least rescue me, Sevlak all but told me that I would be next. Take me with you. If it is true that you are next, you escape with only condemned another of us to death. Jillian walks up to you and whispers in your ear, I will do anything for you. Just save me. Be a hero tonight, even it is for only one. You consider the possibility. She is a slim woman. Perhaps if you jump from the window with her in your arms, you expect you could break both your falls with featherfall. Now listen to the stupid farm girl. She is afraid and makes no sense. She would have herself killed by the dragon and you in the process, says Santos. She has little to lose, you say in your mind. In any case, there is no need to make this a wasted trip. It would be a pity to leave without a taste. A little snack from one of these tender morsels will need the strength if you are to save them. What are the odds of the dragon arriving in the next few minutes, says Santos. Indeed, I did climb far. I would like to learn more. Are they holding back information for some reason? You wonder. On the other hand, it would probably save to just get out of here. Narissa is anywhere in the castle you imagine is underground, beyond the magically sealed door in the bottom of the stairway, and that is probably where the book of names is. Perhaps it would be best to stop fooling around and focus on getting through the door. So what we are going to do? Leave immediately. Let's leave immediately. You have pushed my luck far enough. I have pushed my luck far enough. You think as you look out the tower window, have expected the moonlight shadow of the dragon to fall upon you. After confirming all skill, you carefully climb down. Hoping the Narissa have returned since you have been away, you return to the main floor of the castle. When you arrive at the throne, Sevlak, still in human form, sits upon his throne with his chin in his hand. Though wondering something, he looks up at you as you enter. Where have you been? Exploring the grounds and the forest. Indeed. He chuckles and then shakes his head. He ushers you to stand up before him, which you do. He then stares at you until you are about to say, my lord, but then he finally speaks. Well, it's about to end, so I might just go on, but it's really taking a toll on me. How much time do I have? I don't fucking know. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna end this episode here. Next episode is going to be like 10 minutes long, but I'm gonna finish this. So thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment something. Share the video. That would certainly help. There's a link in the description to my Twitter account. Go follow me there. There's also a link to my DK account where I play hentai games. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.